so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality. And the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. Now, of course, understanding this powerful truth is one thing. Applying this incredibly empowering wisdom to everyday life, well, that's another. Which is exactly why we provide you with a fresh serving of soul food for thought 5 days a week to help constantly remind you of what matters most. You are it. And I'm your host for the day, Erica Middlemiss. I am just another reflection and extension of you who will be here filling in for our beloved host, Brandon Beecham, leading the way to ensure your perspective is consistently expanded, your vibration is constantly elevated, and your heart is overflowing and full. All right, all you positive heads, welcome back. Thanks so much for joining me on this beautiful day. Today, I thought I would continue on with the topic from yesterday, where I read Dolores Cannon's book, Chapter 1 of The 3 Waves of Volunteers and the New Earth. And there's a lot of Ascension talk out there, and why don't we do a little bit more? We're all going through it, right? So let's go through it and talk about some perspectives out there. So yesterday I shared a little Dolores Cannon, and today I thought I would share some of the perspective that is given in the Law of One, which is one of my favorite channeled materials. There's so much good information in there, and I love to reference it. And actually, I find a lot of similarities between the Law of One and Dolores Cannon. And we'll get into that in a little bit. Before I do, I'd like to read a review. I haven't done that in a little while, so I thought I would do that today. And today, the review comes from Light Girl 1979, titled The Highest Vibe Central, 5 stars. Brandon and all you positive heads, I love being here with all of you. This podcast is the fast track to raising our vibration. I listen every day. You do powerful work, brother. Imagine. Yeah. Thank you, Light Girl 1979. I love that you talked about raising our vibration, because that's what the Ascension is all about. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So what's interesting about the similarities between Dolores Cannon's work and what they say in the Law of One, in the Law of One, they term the Ascension as harvest. And I know that's kind of tough for a lot of people to chew on, right? It's an interesting term. It kind of sounds like we're all pawns, right? But when you look at it like we are a garden, like Dolores Cannon calls it, then we start to see that we're actually these beautiful creations that are being cared for and nurtured just like we would our own garden. And I just find this whole topic very, very interesting. There's many different perspectives on it. Like, for example, when it's going to happen and if there's going to be a big event. And my perspective on all of that, and of course, just my perspective, there's so many perspectives, so I'm just going to offer another one. My perspective is that we're already here. We've already reached these higher vibrational energies. The earth certainly has already gone into this vibrational area in the universe that vibrates higher. So the earth is already in this fourth density. We as human beings are having a hard time vibrating with that, with resonating with that, with the way our society has become and continues to be so warlike. So the earth is already in this vibration. But since the people are not as a whole, then we are actually holding her back from her full birthing process. Eventually, she will just shake us off like fleas if we don't straighten up. And what eventually we will see is this lightning and lightning and lightning. And we are seeing that now. And so that's what I'm saying, is that we are here. It really just depends on our perspective. So think about it like this. When we're always waiting for something to happen, what happens? We're always waiting. We're always waiting then for something to happen because we think there's going to be some event or some savior who is going to come and help us, or, well, there is people to help us, but to do this for us. No one's going to do this for us. We have a lot of help, that's for sure. But there is no one savior, and there is no, in my perspective, huge event that's going to push us against our own free will into another vibration. If we're not ready, if our soul is not ready, then we don't go. It's kind of like we're in this wave where we are third density, fourth density, third density, fourth density. And that depends on where our thoughts are. If our thoughts are constantly in a level of peace, love, understanding, then we're going to ride that wave in the fourth density. But if we're allowing our thoughts to be of a lower vibration, of anger, of jealousy, guilt, those things, then we will see ourselves perceiving more of the third density. So I think that this is a really big point. If we all start to think, this is actually here now. I'm not waiting for anything. I can see this all around me if I choose to. Yeah? So the ascension is here right now. It's just, how are we looking at it? The Law of One says the harvest is now. The ascension is now. Again, don't let that word harvest trip you up. So the ascension is right now. And here's the thing. The Law of One was written in the 80s. So right now was the 80s. And right now is 2019. It's still right now. It's always right now. And that is like one of the keyest, one of the most key points in this whole ascension process is becoming present within the moment now. The Law of One also says, the fourth density is as regularized in its approach as the striking of a clock upon the hour. The space-time of your solar system has enabled this planetary sphere to spiral into a space-time of a different vibrational configuration. This causes the planetary sphere to be able to be molded by these new distortions. However, the thought forms of your people during this transition period are such that the mind-body-spirit complexes of both individual and societies are scattered throughout the spectrum instead of being able to grasp the needle and point the compass in one direction. Thus, the entry into the vibration of love, the vibration of understanding, is not effective with your present societal complex. So, again, back in the 80s, that's the way it was. I think things have changed now because, as we talked about yesterday, there are so many volunteers coming to help us at this time. So many of us that are here right now have been here for many, many, many lifetimes, having to experience these experiences over and over again because we're caught on the wheel of karma. And the more we get stuck, the stickier it is and the harder it is to get out. And so we needed a lot of help, and a lot of help has been given to us. The Law of One says that there are 3 levels of supervisors that are supervising this harvest to make sure the fruit that is us is being placed without a bruise or a blemish. And the first level is a planetary level of angelic guardians that are working with our higher selves. And when we put out a call or ask for our help, for their help, they come. So they're right here helping us on our planet. The second group of entities are those who, and this is a quote from the Law of One, stand in the small places at the edge of the steps of light and love, so that those entities being harvested will not, no matter how confused or unable to make contact with their higher self, stumble and fall away for any reason other than the strength of the light. These entities catch those who stumble and set them aright so that they may continue into the light. And the third group that's watching over us is the group that we call the guardians that are known as the light bringers. And what they do is that they are focusing love and light and sending it to us all the time so that we can accept it. And that is one of the biggest things, is learning to accept it and understanding that this love and light is all around us. It's being poured on us all the time. We as humans have a hard time accepting it, which is a perfect reason for the wanderers to be here, or the volunteers, as Dolores calls them. They're called wanderers in the Law of One. But these are the brave souls who volunteered to actually come into this density, forget all that they have learned, and come in here and help us at this time. So what's interesting is that Dolores Cannon says that the volunteers come in with a sheath or an energetic shield to protect them from accumulating more karma. And in the Law of One, it says that if it wishes, that the spirit can come in with an armor of light, which enables it to more clearly recognize those things that are undesirable to the complex of the human being as a whole. The Law of One also talks about wanderers have a sense of not fitting in and not belonging. Very often, they are artists or teachers, and they just want to simply share a cheerful, happy vibration. Same thing that Dolores says. They are here to be beacons, to be energy resonators. And in order to do that, it's important for the wanderer to remember who and what they are. And there's many ways that can happen through synchronicities, through dreams. Our guides and guardians are always working with us to help us remember exactly who we are, that we are all fractals of Source. And the wanderer has to remember that it's been through all of this before and it decided to forget in order to come and help. The Bird Tribes talks about this a little bit as well. I'm going to read a little bit about what they say. So I did the only thing I could to truly reach them. I took my spirit and caused it to forget, that I might incarnate among them and grow up as a child in their culture, allowing my incarnate awareness to be tailored to their fiction, molded into a communication device that would speak their language. I slumbered with them and filtered my awareness through their dreams. Dreams is one of the biggest ways our spirit communicates with us. And if you're not paying attention to your dreams, it's a good thing to start paying attention to. They are keys to our awakening. And this whole Ascension process is about an awakening, and it's also about making a choice. And the choice is the biggest part of it. The choice that we have to make here is whether we choose to follow a positive path or whether we choose not to. There really isn't a middle area. So there are those of us who will choose to follow a path of light and love, and there are those of us who will choose otherwise. But we all have to make a choice. There really isn't a gray area as far as this ascension or harvest is concerned. If we don't make a choice within this period of time that we have to do so, we might just have to repeat a third density cycle all over again. So now is the time if it's going to be done. And when I say now, it also says in the Law of One that this ascension process will take anywhere from 100 to 700 years. And that is a really long time for this entire process to be completed, to where there is no more opportunity for harvest or ascension. So we have a really good amount of time to continue to make these beautiful changes and to make these choices. The choice of hopefully choosing to follow the path of love and light. The Law of One says that the choice is the work of a moment, but is the axis upon which the creation turns. There's also an infinite amount of potentials that exist in order to help us make this choice. And all these potentials are available to us since the beginning of what we understand as time. The function of our mind is to allow us to use the physical world to gain this experience and then to make this choice. So all these potentials around us are there to help us make this choice. Which path do we want to follow? And it sounds like an easy choice, doesn't it? Oh, I choose to follow the love path. The thing is, are we always making that choice? For example, if you were attacked, what would your response be? Would it be love? Probably not, right? Most likely not. I know if I was attacked, I'm probably not going to turn around and, although in my mind, conceptually, I know that's what I need to do, and especially in my thought, but I'm talking in that moment. Are you going to be able to turn around and have the emotion of love? Most likely not. Most of us are going to feel fear, straight up fear. So a perfectly balanced entity who has got this all down will actually feel love. So that's how you know you're perfectly balanced. Anything can be thrown at you and your emotion will be love. Other than that, if you're having other emotions like anger or greed or fear, then we still have work to do, don't we? So when we're able to see love in every moment and be able to respond with the emotion of love, that is what raises our vibration. And when we raise our own vibration, we also assist in raising the planetary vibration as well. So the best way we can be of service to one another is to constantly put forth an effort to seek out and share the love of the Creator in the best way that we know it in our innermost being. So this requires that we know ourselves and that we have the ability to open ourselves without hesitation to another. So that involves vulnerability and trust. And it also involves radiating that which is the essence of your heart. And this is unique to each and every one of us. We're all going to have our own way that we may best serve each other. It's different for all of us, and there is no better, there is no best, and there's no way to really generalize. At the end of the day, we really don't know very much about this. What we do know is that love is the only answer. So many of us here just want to help, and we want to help wake others up. We want them to understand and see what we see when we're seeing that there's so much love and light in the world. And one thing to remember with this is that all of us will learn. All of us. Some of us, it may take a while. We're all going to learn the same things. Some learn more quickly and some learn slowly, but we all eventually will learn, and everyone will get there in their own time. So it's important to not push things on people and let them come to it on their own, and to provide truth without proof. When you give somebody proof of something, you're not allowing them the opportunity to make that decision on their own. And then that doesn't really help with increasing their own vibratory rate because they didn't get there on their own. So very, very important to just, if you want, plant little seeds, but not be too pushy with these things with other people, because this is a very delicate thing for a lot of people. We don't want to push the boundaries. And, cognitive dissonance comes in where the minute we hear things that we don't understand, we immediately turn it off. And we don't want to do that to people. You want to give them their space and just love them. And that's how you can be of the best service. And it's also important to remember that service is only possible to the extent that it is requested. So those who are on this path are going to have such a radiant light. So the few who you may illuminate by sharing that light is far more than enough reason for the greatest possible effort, because to serve one is to serve all. We are all one. What's in one is in the whole. When you help yourself, you help the planet. A big thing that comes up when we talk about Ascension talk a lot of times is war with negative entities, or fighting negative entities or attachments or things like that. And I think something really important to remember here is that, and I'm going to read this directly from the Law of One as well, it seems in this life that we have two opposing forces at play, the good and the bad, the light and the dark. The Creator is the source of all information, not just the white and the black, but all the gray areas in between. We may, if we choose, listen carefully to those sources of information, voices that we may hear. It is all one voice. We are only hearing a certain frequency of it, and this frequency is determined by our choice of service. There is only one splendid display of color and hues, biases and distortions in an unending pattern. They also say, all serve the one Creator. There is nothing else to serve, for the Creator is all that there is. It is impossible not to serve the Creator. You have no ability not to serve the Creator, since all is the Creator. So I think that this point to keep in mind when we're thinking about those who are in service to self, or those who we'd be calling a negative entity or an archon or the deep state of the government, whatever you think about when I say a negative entity, remember, all part of the one. And when we look at these other beings as something that we need to fight or have a war with, then that is the opposite of raising our vibration. And that is not a good thing to do if we want to ascend. If we want to ascend, we have to look at all of our brothers and sisters as the love beings that they are, no matter what kind of choices they are making. So spiritual wars are still wars. We have to stop this, and we have to start looking at every single thing with love. Really, really important. So the best way to raise our vibration and help the planet along its ascension process is to start becoming aware and practicing oneness. This is a super great time in the history of this planet. This is the third cycle of the precession of the equinoxes. This is the third time that this planet has given the opportunity for ascension. So it's a great transitional period, and it's a time when people will at first be confused, but come out of this state of confusion and be able to rise to a higher vibrational level. And they can do that with a simple understanding of all there is love. That is the simple message. All there is love. Many of us are called towards this seeking process because of some trauma or a difficult life experience, because it's those toughest of times that we call out for help. And when we call out for help, we always get answers. It's unfortunate that we're not always able to understand them. Our messages from our higher self are often received just as inspirations, dreams, and visions. And so most of us remain completely unaware of the existence of this guidance that is with us all the time. Ultimately, these communications, they start to create a system of thought and a desire for spiritual awareness. And this is what begins to raise our vibration. And when we do become aware, we understand that there is intelligent energy within every cell, every atom, every portion of our body, and it is the core of our beingness. This awareness also includes an awareness that we have already been given all that we need. The awareness that everything comes from within and that it's always been there. It's just waiting for us to discover it. And also remember that this world that we live in is not one of absolute knowing. We're never going to know it all. And the more we learn, the more we realize how much we don't know, the more answers we get, the more questions that we have. And so because we really just can't even fathom the depths of the cosmos or even the concept of infinity, we can't even understand thoroughly how our energetic patterns work with all the different influxes from all the planets and solar bodies. All of this around us affects us in each and every situation and experience in our lives. And so we can let it go and get it that we're not going to get it, right? There's great freedom in that with this just acceptance of the moment and finding love within the moment and not needing to figure anything out and just being. Any of you wanderers out there, that's all you're here doing. That's all you need to be doing. Just being the shiny, glimmering light being that you are. And remembering that every single cell that makes you is infinite light and love. Don't forget it. Okay? I think that's it for me today, everyone. I'm going to leave you with a song today. This is Ayla Nario, Seeds. Until next time, everyone. Love you all.
My brother lives in the jungle concrete, like a belly gone to rumbling. Only wants a taste of the sky. Wind and fire set in the seeds for the son of his son come with him one day to come. My sister, her hands are raised, for the stakes are high, and she knows it. And I'm singing for her vision, singing for her vision. This is not mere speech. All we seek is here where we stand and shape as clay, turning tides dug deep and wider still to hold what comes, and wider still to say we'll never be moved from here. Our lives will live in the seeds we've sown, calling what's coming clear. Our will is held in the gardens we've grown. It's light from the sun we can give, as rivers meeting can become one. Walk toward the call of this, and plant it deep for the ones to come. One day, none shall be in prison for tending the land, for feeding our children. One day, we will cherish the soil, valued more than gold. It's valued more than gold. One day, our hands will raise for the way we walk, how we own it. And I'm singing for this vision, singing for this vision. never be moved from here. Our lives will live in the seeds we've sown, calling what's coming clear. Our will is held in the gardens we've grown. As light from the sun we can give. As rivers meeting can become one. Walk toward the call of this, and plant it deep for the ones to come. My brother live in a jungle concrete, like a belly gone to rumbling. Only wants a taste of the sky. Wind and fire set in the seeds for the son of his son to come with him one day. Taste the roots he was born from. Passing the story how all hands came together as one.